my oldest son started having seizures. The keto didn't work. Again, I was still continuing to have severe anxiety. I mean, it was almost debilitating.
Well, hi there, everybody, and welcome to Bold Carnivore. I'm glad to see you here. Today we have a special guest. His name is Eric Burnell, and he is a carnivore and an RN. Well, hi there, Eric.
Hey, Matthew, how you doing, man? Thanks
I'm
for having
well,
me
sir.
on.
Thank you very much. Oh yeah, glad to have you on with me. Yeah. Would you like to tell the people about yourself a bit?
Yeah, my name's Eric. I currently live in the Memphis, Tennessee area. I've been a registered nurse for 22 years. Before that, I was an LPN for 10 years. Active duty Army as well as reserves. Um, got out in 2020. Have a family, have three children, 19, 17, and 16. I've been married 21 years. And my wife and I both do carnivore
Wow.
and have been really doing well. So
So, why is it that you started to do the carnivore lifestyle?
initially started because my oldest son started having seizures. So we started doing one of the one of the things that they push in that community of epilepsy is keto. So I started researching keto, and I started doing it with him. So that was about 3 years ago. Since then, the keto didn't work. Um, so we so since then my health started going downhill, um, and it just
Together? Do you link the keto with your health going downhill, or was it just at this
no
time?
no. I mean, during that time, I was still, you know, drinking a lot, um, having high levels of anxiety, working in the hospital for decades, especially during COVID. It was just a lot of trauma, seeing my son have seizures. I just tended to start drinking a lot. So I was drinking a lot of beer, bourbon, smoking a lot of cigars, um, not taking care of myself. I'd go in, work a 12-hour shift. During COVID, I'd have to put these massive hoods on, and I would have to sit in the room with these patients for 5, 6 hours, doing a dialysis treatment. So it messes with your mind. You're thinking, well, I'm going to die in here, just like this patient is likely going to die because they're on the ventilator, they have COVID, or I'm going to take it home to my family. And it's one of the, so the anxiety and depression and PTSD for my military service, as well as, just during COVID, tended to take a toll on me physically, not exercising, eating the standard American diet. Um, I started searching for anything I could do at I once I heard you're type 2 diabetic, that just it triggered something in me. It gave me flashbacks of patients that I had cared for that had type 2 diabetes that went blind or lost a limb, um, had to go on dialysis, had severe hypertension. I was already having, hypertension, but not severe. So those things were like really came and just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I really need to do something to improve my health. And so I kind of had a little bit of keto to fall back on. I didn't enjoy keto. I really have never enjoyed vegetables, and I've always been taught, oh, you need all these micronutrients from vegetables that are going to, really help you. And you're not going to be able to get that from meat. Even though I was like, well, meat, amino acids are the building blocks of muscle. I always knew that. So it was like, it didn't make sense in my mind. And so it was just researching, got with a trainer. He set my diet, he set my training routine, lost a little bit of weight, continued to drink. I stopped drinking beer, started drinking more hard liquor.
Quite a trade-off.
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. And I think I did that for probably a year, maybe not even a year. Was looking for other programs, went did paleo, did a program called Cellular Health, which they push AIP, which is autoimmune paleo. So it's a form of elimination diet, just like carnivore and lion diet. You're just eliminating food, spices, anything that could be triggering hormone disruption.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I was still continuing to have severe anxiety. I mean, it was almost debilitating. Thinking I was going to die, which is a horrible feeling. Thinking you get up thinking you're going to die that day. But I was still like, I need to be healthy. I need to stop thinking this way. I don't want to think this way. I don't want to harm myself. I want to be around to see my grandchildren, which ultimately led to that program not working, or sort of working. I was still continuing to eat vegetables. I was eating a lot of broccoli and a lot of, again, thyroid type disrupting plants.
Mm-hmm.
Having Hashimoto's or hypothyroid. I was always told, well, there's good things in there for your thyroid, and it's like, I just don't like it. I don't know if this is right. And so it's just been a process of me wanting to be relieved of anxiety mainly, as well as hypertension, the thyroid, healing of my thyroid. I was also taking testosterone for improved sleep, or, to build muscle again. All along.
Do you know what your numbers were in the testosterone department, or do you?
Oh, this was over a decade ago, so I was low 200s. And then I went on, I would give myself an injection once a week of testosterone for over a decade. About 5 years ago, I had hypothyroid, so I started taking levothyroxine. And then probably around the same time, I started having signs of hypertension. So I was started on something for hypertension. And I mean, which ultimately led to just doing more research, and started the carnivore diet around 130 days ago. What I've seen improve, I'm no longer on blood pressure medicine.
Nice.
I've lost, I was around 226, 228 when I started. I'm right at 190 now. So about 35 pounds, consistently been off. My energy is through the roof. It's amazing what ketones and the energy you have, especially after losing weight and feeling better, energy to cook and to clean, things that I didn't really do a lot of, 6 months ago. I'm no longer on thyroid medicine. I haven't had any testosterone. My testosterone levels are around 450 the last time I had them checked.
Trending upwards.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel good. I'm able to sleep at night. So, I mean, there's been so many positive things doing the carnivore. A big one is no longer craving things that I would normally crave eating carbohydrates, or even on keto, eating a lot of the processed type keto, snacks or keto fat chunks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been very freeing to know that when I eat, and I eat a lot, that I'm not going to gain weight and that I'm going to not be craving, after 2 or 3 hours. I mean, I can go 6, 7 hours and not even think about food now because I'm eating such a large amount. When I first eat, I may eat around this time every day after a walk, and I may lift some weights, but I'm definitely walking. And then I'll usually eat either 3 or 4 eggs, a couple of beef patties, some 80/20 patties, and then I have a specific steak sauce that I make. It's just butter, cream cheese, beef broth, and salt.
Oh, that sounds
And
nice.
so I'll kind of spread that on the beef patty.
Okay.
And then, at night I may do the same thing, may add some shrimp or I may add a ribeye.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So let's go back a bit. You said that all of this adventure started because your son ended up with seizures. What,
Mhm.
what was the trigger there, and have they stopped?
He was around 15, so this has been about 3.5 years ago. Um, he started on something for OCD, some Prozac. He then had a seizure, and I'm like, well, it's likely that the Prozac caused the seizure. And then we went to see his primary doctor. They were like, no. They sent us to see a neurologist at Le Bonheur here in Memphis. No, that wasn't the cause. Started him on all these medicines. Um, he continued to have seizures about every month and a half to 2.5 months. He would have a grand mal seizure. Couldn't get his license, couldn't drive. Once you start having seizures, you can't drive. And just for the protection of society and insurance purposes, that if you were to have a seizure while driving, then you could potentially harm someone. So he was definitely down. Couldn't drive at 16. He was about to turn 16. Um, we eventually did the keto. It didn't work. I did it with him. Um, and then nothing was working. So let's just stop it all. And so we weaned off the Prozac. Probably about 2 to 3 weeks of weaning, he had one more seizure, and he hasn't had a seizure in a year and a half. And my opinion all along was it was likely the Prozac that caused, something. It was affecting his frontal lobe. Something was triggering him or lowering his threshold to have seizures.
Very interesting that a medication that deals directly with brain chemistry didn't bear the brunt of the blame for triggering seizures.
Yeah. We definitely ended up switching neurologists during that time because this neurologist that we were seeing was not having any suggestion from the parent. And so, which led to us moving. There was no there was no collaboration on trying to help my son. It was just his way or the highway. I was like, yeah, we'll take the highway.
Nice. Very nice. So, what is it you currently do now?
I'm a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for around 21, 22 years. Before that, I was an LPN for 10 years. Currently, I'm in the process of moving. I'm moving to the Pensacola, Florida area at the end of next month. So I'm currently not working. I've taken a job at the Veterans Administration primary care clinic there. So I'm going to be serving veterans um, in a registered nurse role. So that's the reason we're moving there.
Would you classify that as your dream position?
It has been for the past 10 years for sure. Wanting to kind of get out of the hospital setting. That's where I've done 30 years in nursing is in the hospital setting. So I've been ready for a change for a while.
Very nice. Florida's good for golfing, is it?
Definitely. And grounding, get to walk on the beach and get the sun and,
Nice.
just see the glory of God, what he's created is just amazing.
Good. And so that leads to another question. How has faith played a role in your adventure?
So it's been tested, it's been strengthened. Um, I'm going through it right now with my wife. My wife does carnivore as well, but she's been struggling with moving. We have so many friends here involved in our church, and so she's been mourning, and it's been hard, and just reading the word to her, praying with her. Um, kind of during 3, 4, 5 years ago, kind of during my COVID drinking, that kind of went away. My faith suffered, my commitment suffered. Um, kind of went with the flesh more, pleasing the flesh, and it was destroying me. So it's been great to definitely have a daily connection, reading the word, praying for my children, just doing things that I haven't done in a while. I've been a Christian for a while, but I kind of had a downtime, I guess. But it's definitely improved. Significantly improved. My anxiety's improved. No more depression. Anxiety is still there, but it's way in the background. The VA does send me to see a therapist. I still have arthritis. It's still there, but I'm able to do things that I haven't been able to do in a while. Lift weights, walk. I've kind of done some sprinting here and there, but it's still pretty painful in my back. But, I'm not going to quit. I still enjoy it. Um, it's likely, the arthritis in my back and hips likely happened because of my military service, carrying a large pack or gear that we carry, can be upwards of 80 pounds. Carrying that for long distances, you know, constantly running just puts a stress on your body over, many years.
Well, it's very possible that after a longer stretch on the carnivore diet, that you'll find that those pains get quieter and quieter until they just totally disappear.
Yeah, hopeful of that. I've definitely seen just in my knees the improvement where I can actually get down. Like before, it was a struggle to get down on my knees, and now I can get down and get up, do push-ups. But sitting for long periods of time, it tends to hurt me worse. I think that's why I've been walking so much, just because I don't want to sit for long periods, especially for the energy. I just have more energy to do things, to get up, play with the dog, go walking with my kids. Um, in the process of selling our home, I've been doing a lot of, home remodel things, painting. I mean, I'm hooked. I don't see me going back to a standard American diet for sure.
Well, if he was going to make us,
I don't want. Go ahead.
go ahead. No, you're right.
No, I was going to say I don't want to. I know what I was previously. I don't want to go back to it. Don't even want to entertain it.
That's great.
Especially the longer that I stay on carnivore, the more I just enjoy the simplicity of it. I enjoy it's definitely cheaper on a monthly basis. It's cheaper for me and my wife to eat carnivore than it was when we were just eating random things that we would buy, trying to piece together meals so it's definitely cheaper, especially if you don't, do the ribeye. It's definitely cheaper, big time cheaper. But yeah, we'll splurge and we'll have a ribeye once or twice a week. We'll have shrimp a couple times a week, but doing it on the cheap, I mean, you can find 80-20 or 70-30 ground beef very, very reasonable at the supermarket. I tend to buy all organic, just because but I don't buy grass fed, grass finished beef. I buy regular beef. But as far as cheeses or things that need to be organic, I tend to buy organic or raw. So
So that's the direction I was going with that question. I was going to ask you if you were going to make something special, what would it be?
yeah, it would be ribeye for sure, 100%. Like if we go out to eat, like we might go to a steakhouse, it's ribeye. And I tend to like the way I cook ribeye better than most steakhouses cook it.
Well, you got to tell them then when you get there, don't put anything on that. Yeah, don't put no sauce on it. You don't put seed oils on it.
I know. And that's tough because they're used to cooking the same way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. I tend to tell them, hey, I'm only going to eat this steak. I'm not going to eat anything else unless you have some type of butter. I'll have like a garlic butter or something like that if I go out.
Yeah.
But I'm like, cook my steak in either tallow or render some fat off the steak. Don't cook it in seed oils. You're running it. To me, you're running it. So yeah, I cook. I mean, I cook most of my beef in just a little bit of tallow. I used to use avocado oil. I've since switched. Probably 3 months ago, I switched to tallow, and it's really improved the crust and the thickness of the crust. So I use cast iron. I don't use a grill. I just use a cast iron skillet.
I like the cast iron skillet on a steak. It's nice. Or
Yeah.
even a patty,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I cook my patties in that. I'll put just a little bit of tallow and just do my patties. I'll usually smash them so they're more flat.
Yeah.
But yeah, on my YouTube page, you'll see I'll have a lot of steak cooking type videos or shorts.
Nice. You have you a YouTube? We'll have to get that linked in.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. And I'm on Instagram, Twitter, all under Eric Carnivore RN.
Eric Carnivore RN on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. Yes?
Yes.
All right. So we'll get those linked up in the description.
Wow. Sounds good.
So, Eric, if you were to impart some measure of wisdom to future generations or people watching this video, what would you like to say?
get off the addiction train of the standard American diet. We're all prone for food addiction. So, get your why you want to do this, research it, and then do it and just thrive and feel better. It will, to me, it will change your life, in my opinion, for the better. That's my little nugget, but definitely do the why, do the research, and then just do it. My wife tend to say, she's like, you're always telling people about carnivore. And I'm like, yeah, because I don't want to see them die early. And that's the likelihood. I mean, more and more people die early. It's like, I want to be around. I just sent one of her cousins a video with Homestead Howe, Carrie.
Oh,
And he was interviewing a guy, I can't remember his name, but he had lost like 250 pounds. And so I sent her this video on Facebook, and I was like, she's around 500 pounds. And I just don't want to see her pass early. And that's inevitably what will happen. She has to she's on oxygen all the time. And so, me being a nurse, it's like sometimes I have to say things to people they don't like. And I'm okay with that. I'm doing it in love. I want you to live. I want you to thrive. I want you to be happy and not in a deep, dark depression of, I can't do anything. You can easily start eating 2 or 3 or 4 patties a day and some butter. You can eat a pound of ground beef and a stick of butter every day. You can do that. That's just a good visualization. That was what Dr. Bright recommends, of that visualization of a pound of meat and a stick of butter. You can do that.
That's good.
I know I'm ready for some.
You're getting hungry just thinking about it, huh?
Yes, sir.
It's nice. So, yeah, Kerry from Homestead Howe. You watch a lot of his videos in?
I have been lately, especially since since the guy Bill Knott reached out to him. It was kind of what triggered me to start doing some YouTube videos. Because this is my first like live with someone, but I've had several people ask me, "Hey, tell me your story," and I'm like, "Yeah." But I mean, he really helped me even put my story out there. He being 700 pounds, not having left his house in 4 years, and he's making a video. I can make a video. So he definitely inspired me. Another woman, Rachel Gard, she's a carnivore too. She lives in Memphis. She and I met like on an Anthony Chafee live. And so she inspired me. She started doing videos. So her and Bill Knott inspired me to kind of get my story out there and how it's changed my life for the better.
Mm-hmm. Very important to put your story out there so that other people will come across it and see it. And they'll also take that same inspiration and they'll share it to others. It's just, that's the way the wave works. And it's been fantastic for me and for others.
Definitely seeing that.
Just real quick shout out to Homestead Howe. Kerry, you're doing fantastic work. And Bill Knott,
yes,
thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, Kerry has a big heart. I really like that. So it's rare to see, especially when he went to Alaska to see Bill. Yeah, it's pretty epic. So
epic indeed. Wow.
Yep.
Eric, I'd like to thank you for coming on and sharing your story with everybody.
Of course. Anytime. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, everybody will have his Instagram and Twitter and YouTube handles all linked up in the description. You guys go ahead and check him out, yeah? That's Eric Carnivore RN. Good. Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate it, Matthew. Have a good day, bro.
Be bold, everybody.
Yep. See you, man. Bye.